Hi, I'm Zoe. I would have to say my Pinterest is highly curated. I'm very particular, and most of my Pinterest boards are mood boards. You'll get to kind of see a lot of my creative inspiration, and I like using Pinterest for a host of things, but mostly just to like curate a vibe for any given project that I'm working on or may work on in the future. It's definitely one of, if not my favorite, social media platforms. I think its algorithm is spectacular. It's right up there with TikTok for me. TikTok and Pinterest are my favorite platforms for users because the algorithm does a great job of sending you more of what you're looking for. And you really have the opportunity to curate a really cool page, and I love that. I've been recording my screen for a minute, so let's get into it. So the first board that I have here is my vision board. Wow, yeah. I feel like this is such an intimate thing for me to show people because you really get to see what kind of vibe I'm trying to curate for my life. It's a lot of nature, relaxing, fashion, art, activity. It just has a very calming aesthetic. I just tried to use a balance of things, and I'm going to show you guys something that I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of, and that is the to-do list feature on Pinterest. If you scroll to the top of your board, you'll see a few options, and the fourth and last option is to-dos. If you click on that, it'll give you the option to create a to-do. If you click this the plus sign in the right corner. But I have a few that I've created here, and what it does is it allows you to group different images on your Pinterest board and write anything you want, really. It could be notes, a to-do list related to it, things you want to achieve, to accomplish, and I haven't really gotten into the nitty-gritty here, but I just made some different categories here and wrote like a general description. So I realized I really like unique spaces, unique, comforting, sensational spaces. So I wrote spaces that encourage behavior and invoke sensations. I want that for me. Relationships, self-maintenance, so maintaining health, style, and beauty. We also have nature doses. Ways to add more natural elements to my life. Let me click on one of them so you guys can see. So it just kind of allows you to add different images that you already have on your Pinterest board and just kind of categorize them as it relates to different things you're trying to explore, document, whatever. I think it does limit you to like 25 pins per section. Enough of my vision board. I'm sorry, I just love looking at this vision board. It just immediately, I know how I want to feel. It evokes like so many feelings for me instantly. I can really truly imagine this kind of life for myself, like just slow living, appreciating the finer things, appreciating good food, art. I want that for me. Right, next we have thumbnail mood board. So I had this idea to basically create thumbnails that reflected qualities found in movie posters because it's kind of something that's already working and clearly kind of engages people. So I wanted to kind of create a mood board of some really interesting movie posters. I got most of these from the same website. Let me see. It's called filmartgallery.com, and it just has like a really large selection of movie posters that you can search by like genre and decade and all of that. So that's what I did. If you see my thumbnails now, you know they don't really follow this kind of movie poster format, but I think it's really cool for potentially using in the future. And I just love a lot of the different techniques and things used to create movie posters. I think it's very interesting. And you kind of start to notice patterns. Next, so for these next set of mood boards, I'll have to kind of like explain something. So I am sometimes like inspired by like words and colors, and I was in a time in my life where like each month I felt like I was inspired by like a new color. I would like relate it back to like a word or an idea, and I like to create mood boards that reflect that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Ooh, my posture child. So this one is called Klein Blue Honesty. I believe Klein Blue is a very specific blue that was developed by a painter and artist. I can't remember his name. Maybe it's Klein, but he named the color Klein Blue. Actually, I think he might have named it Yves. This is it here, I believe. Yeah, it's called Yves Klein. Or maybe the artist is Yves Klein. I'm not sure, but it's a really pretty blue. And I thought that not only did I love the blue, but specifically in relation to like a pale yellow. So you kind of just see that throughout this board, and it's not really incorporated in obvious ways. Like it's sometimes like in sunshine or skin tones or stucco. And I just really like that balance with the blue. Mood boards are so fun. One thing I will say about Pinterest, I wish that its like loading speeds were a little bit better, because I feel like it sometimes disrupts the experience a little bit when everything like it doesn't stay loaded, you know, like if I'm scrolling up or down, it's like everything has to reload again. Just a thought. I love this one. This one is Jeep Black Rebirth, and I did this one for like the new year. I have the month in the title. It's black, and you do get a little bit of that pale yellow in here as well, but it's a little more earthy. It's more like earth tones balancing out the black, like kind of browns rather than yellows, and like beige. It's just such a vibe. It's like, it's edgy. I just really like this one. See, that's what I'm talking about. That disrupts the experience. Like, look at this look. But I have like a lot of eye looks. The moon. Look at this. That's such an interesting photo to me. I even like photos like this that you wouldn't necessarily think would go on this mood board, but it just adds to the vibe, like kind of some of those natural elements. And nothing in this photo is actually black, but it's like the edges of the image. All right, and we have Lilac Blush Faith. So this mood board, it was like a lot of like lilac, but also grounded with black. And I thought that was just like an interesting tie-in. It was like a color that normally seems kind of girlish and youthful, but it was like grounded by this like mature tone and quality within the board. Like I love like these fun looks like this or this, the fun nails, but then you get like this sleek bun right here that kind of has like a purple tone to the image, but it's like so fancy. Or like these combs over here, like a lot of slick back hairstyles in this one, because I think it just kind of added to the maturity, these conflicting kind of feelings, but they work together. I really like this one. Next we have Peacherine Drive. I love this board. It's so fun and saturated and truly colorful. Purple was kind of the secondary color in this one, like as you can see with the eye look here, or even like the carpeted runway in this image. Some florals in here, just pops of color in very fun ways. Yes, lots and lots of orange. It's such an energetic board, and it really kind of lends itself to the word connected to it, which is drive, and kind of like this passionate feeling. Next we have Miami Blue, and the word is peace. Now this is actually named after a butterfly and not a color. A Miami Blue is a type of butterfly, and if you'll notice, like there are a lot of like butterfly motifs throughout this mood board. Miami Blue butterflies are not actually this kind of pale blue. They're a little more of like a bright blue, but I still thought it worked. I find this board so peaceful. Like this little gif here of the ocean. Just lots of butterflies, moons, peaceful landscapes. It's just airy and fresh and youthful. I really, really like this board. I'm gonna say that about all of them because I made them, but yeah, I like all of them. My posture is like so bad. I don't know if I'm gonna be brave enough to upload this because my posture is like sending me. All right, we have Wild Cherry, and the word is anger. This was such a transformative month for me. I started reading this book. Actually, it's right on my nightstand, so I'm just gonna, but it's called Rage Becomes Her by Soraya Kamali, and such a good book. I very much recommend it for women. Honestly, I recommend it for anybody, not just women. But what's interesting is I chose I don't have the mic to my mouth. What's interesting is that I chose this kind of like color of the month and the word of the month before even hearing about this book. And then I was randomly just recommended like a TED Talk by Soraya Kamali, and it wasn't even directly on the topic of anger. She just mentioned it, so I was kind of like intrigued by her, and then I started watching more of her stuff, and she talks a lot about anger as like an important emotion for women to express. And she has a book called Rage Becomes Her, and it's red, and I was just like, this is so serendipitous. And I've experienced that a lot with like these boards, and it's not really the board itself, but just me kind of choosing themes for each month and having fun with it just resulted in a lot of really cool serendipitous experiences. But yeah, I really love this board. Something about it just kind of reminds me of like just kind of, it has wild child energy, and something about it is just very visceral. I love it so much. And the kind of secondary color going on is like a light blue. You kind of see that a little bit throughout. This is like one of my earlier boards, I guess, playing with the themes and of color. So it's not as curated as some of my later ones. Some of my later ones are really heavily curated, and I just kind of got better at it as I went along. But I still like this one very much. And this was the first like color themed mood board that I did, and it's called Chartreuse, and the word is energy. I actually really like this one a lot. I'm going to say that about all of them. It incorporates like purple as a secondary color, and you'll see the purple a lot more. It's almost equally as much a part of the board as the chartreuse, and I think it's because the chartreuse is such a dominant and just attractive color that I felt like it really needed the purple to ground it a bit more, and to not be so assaulting to the eyes. And I think it really works. Like, it really gives like such a youthful energy, which makes sense because the word that it's supposed to evoke is energy, and I'm in love. I love it. We have Museum Minimal, and hold up, I'm really big about order for things and not having things be. Alright, I think that's better. So I love this board. It is ever evolving, and what you'll notice with a lot of my boards that I've had for a long time, I continuously add to my boards. I'm never really finished, and so a lot of my boards evolve over time. Like the mood they originally evoked is very different from the mood they evoke now, and it's constantly changing. Even though it'll kind of be the same general idea, it will have like a different essence to it as you scroll. But this one is called Museum Minimal, and it's an aesthetic that I'm heavily into. I coined the term. But this idea of like, if you've ever walked into a museum and it's really kind of sterile and white a lot of the time, especially modern museums, but there's always these pops of color from these really cool art installations and paintings and photography hung on the walls. And I love that feeling of feeling like fresh and light, but also there's a bit of chaos to it, and it's very energetic and colorful, and there's just a lot going on, but you feel kind of soothed by the space that is kind of allowed for everything. Like, you know, it's this massive wall with like so much space in between art, so you can just really take in each piece of art. And so that's kind of like the idea behind this board, is just capturing that feeling. A lot of times, like, museums and spaces like this are very bright. Sometimes they're very sunny, depending on what type of art is displayed, because obviously they don't want the sunlight to damage the art. But a lot of times, like, the lobbies of museums and things like that are very sunny and spacious. So I just kind of want to capture that. I love it so much. But yeah, as you can see, the colors are a little less bright as you scroll down, and there's a lot more typography in earlier kind of iterations of this board. But yeah. Oh, by the way, the graphic design for this album, oh my gosh, that's so aesthetically pleasing. You know, I may have to do a part 2. I don't know if we're gonna get to everything today. Might have to do the other ones on another day, because all right, so yeah, I'm actually gonna end it there for now, because I realized there's just way too many boards to go through in one video. If you guys would like to kind of see more Pinterest tour videos of me kind of showing my Pinterest boards, especially because I'm always adding stuff, I'm always creating new boards. So if you guys would kind of like to see this as like maybe like a quarterly series or something like that, or even possibly more often, just let me know. I didn't realize how many boards I had and how long it would take me to get through these, but I think we covered a lot today. If you're interested in following me on Pinterest, my handle is by Zoe Cloud, like it is everywhere else. Let me know how you guys feel about Pinterest. Do you use Pinterest? And if so, like, what do you use it for? What are the primary things you use it for? Or honestly, just anything y'all want to talk about in the comments. All right, I will see you guys later.